So I think what's really strong about MYNERVA is the fact that we are in the diabetes field, but focusing on neuropathy, which is something that is very neglected, even though it happens in 50% of the people living with diabetes. So for us, really targeting these symptoms that are being completely neglected is fantastic. And I mean, of course, our solution is extremely, let's say, it's an elegant solution done with a complex approach, but with a very simple way, because it's a smart sock and we combine artificial intelligence and neurostimulation to make patients walk better and decrease the sense of pain. So basically what we're doing is collecting some information, general, age, gender, weight, height, and this allows us already to make some interpolation on what parameters of the stimulation would be better suited for your specific needs. And this is all done for the purpose of optimizing the calibration process that you need to do in the beginning. Usually when you use neurostimulators and neurostimulating devices, the problem is that the calibration process takes a long time, sometimes even hours, and this means, of course, that the compliance with these new technologies that might be effective is very low, because nobody is going to do a calibration of a few hours every day to use the system. So we managed to have also publications on our algorithms that are able to take this process in just a few minutes. And so the fact that we optimize this time increases the compliance, with also the benefit that it personalizes the therapy based on your specific needs. So I think one of the biggest problems is focusing on developing a perfect solution from a technological standpoint and not listening to the people that are actually going to use this system. And we see this oftentimes in startups. I think the real strength of us is that we do these iteration cycles where we do focus groups with people living with this condition. We ask them, how does this prototype look for you? Does it feel good? And then we optimize based on their feedback. I think this is the biggest issue that people usually don't look at, because they want to have the perfect solution. But the reality of the fact is that the market, the clients, the people are actually going to give you the best feedback. So I see this as a, let's say, problem, just because sometimes you need to devote a bit more time into the development phase to really make sure that the solution that you're developing answers to a real problem rather than vice versa. And of course, I mean, being a startup, the other big problematic is the resources that you have. We're well funded at the moment, but the burn rate, of course, in startups, especially in the medtech field, are incredibly high. It's a very capital intensive market and field, and so you need to make sure that you have enough resources, both internal and external, to cope with the process that you need to make, considering also that usually when you're a startup, you're just a few people, so you don't have all the expertise that you need to have, and therefore you need to identify where are the areas where you need support from external partners. So I think the most important message I'd like to say is you need to be advocates for your own health, right? So I just said before that usually we do these focus groups where we ask people to give feedback on the product that we are developing. It's fantastic when we have people living with diabetic neuropathy right away reaching out to us and wanting to use the technology, because this gives us precious golden feedback that we can integrate into the solution that we're having. And this is for, let's say, our part. On the other side, when you're a medical device device company and you need to have a prescription to use a certain device, you need to convince the doctors, the clinicians, to prescribe such a solution. However, if the people living with this condition really become advocates of their own health and would talk to their doctors about innovative solutions, this opens up the mind also of the doctors and the prescribing clinician to be more open towards solutions and innovations that are out there on the market.